Warm greetings. Welcome to today's session on understanding the nuances of being woman in architecture in the larger purview of looking at being woman in the diverse fields of the built environment. The season is conducted by the support of Eco Development and Research Cell and a not-for-profit initiative of the Environmental Design Consultants, Ahmedabad. My name is Dr. Mansee Bal Bhargava, and I'm the host for the discussion as I represent both the organizations. I'm glad to start the conversation with women engaging in the practice and pedagogy of built environment. The aim of the study is to celebrate the role of women in shaping the built environment. The objective is to understand and document the biographical journey of women from practice, research, and education, those who have started with architecture as their base education. Through the study, the intention is to acknowledge the contribution of women in the profession, bring forth the critical points that needs to be addressed at individual level, institutional level, as well as the societal level, as what makes or breaks or tweaks the career of women in the field of built environment in India. The study of women in architecture profession is a call to action for both men and women and others to realize the need for equitable architectural practice in order to advance towards a sustainable architecture. In other words, to even redefine the way we look at architecture. For long, it has been a patriarchal journey in the society. The study is also based on the presumption of the profession being heavily patriarchal, as I mentioned. Interestingly, when we started doing this research, we actually looked at why women architects are not looked in the light, whereas there are so many women architects working. And when I'm reaching this 50 respondents interaction, I'm very proud to say that the women have really made a huge mark in the profession. It's only we need to find out from all those women why we do not have such presence in the society as they deserve. Today we have Trupti, Amritwar, Vaitla. I hope I have pronounced your name correctly, Trupti.
Yes,
and
yes.
I'm very proud that Trupti is here with me because I've been knowing her for quite some time, but it took us some time to convince you to be here on the session and share your journey of life. Trupti, first of all, thank you so much for agreeing to do this conversation. And you know that we are reaching towards 50, so I'm super nervous as well as excited to have learned from so many people. I hope you are okay that I'm recording this session as well as live, and we are going to write a small coffee table book out of the conversation we have with all of you, including you. So
Yes,
what do you think?
definitely. I'm fine. Absolutely. And thank you very much for having me. Pleasure to be here talking to you.
Thank you, Trupti. So the research method which we have taken is called autoethnography, which means it is your biography and our pen. So I have a wonderful team of young women architects who are really helping me doing that. So before I start this discussion with you, I also wish to thank them because they are also getting motivated to be in the profession. So with these words, let me just start the conversation. I hope you are ready. It's going to be very, very easy, flowing like water.
Yes,
So
yes.
we can just start now.
Yes.
And I would like to bring you back to some years ago when you were in high school, 12th, 11th. And what was going in your head, in the family, in the friends that you got into architecture? What was it that time?
Strange. In fact, I'll take you back when I was a very, very small child. And my mother, father used to kind of tease me. I always liked drawing. They used to tease me, you're going to be an architect. And it was written in
Acha.
my, what Janam Patri and all that, what she'll become. So it was like written like, I'll become an architect. And that time, I don't know. I mean, as a small kid, I have always heard that, who people who are very good in studies, they become doctors and engineers. So I used to
Engineers.
feel, why are they calling me architect? Maybe architect is not so good. So that is how I used to perceive. I never had any relative or anybody whom I knew who is an architect. What is it? I mean. So when after 12th, I was a good student. I got into electronics, in 11, 12. But then somehow, I couldn't make it in top colleges, government colleges, engineering colleges. And then somehow, it happened that, I was looking at other options. So architecture became not, it was by choice, but I got into architecture because I couldn't get through engineering college. But then once I got into it took me almost a year to actually kind of understand what this, subject is. And I can't thank God enough that I got into architecture, because this was the perfect fit. For whatever the kind of, I mean, my likings were, the way I used to think, it just fitted, well. And I think I was a very good student. I think since third year, I completely got into the process of designing, and I really enjoyed my architecture thoroughly. Post that, I was working with one of my professor with whom I used to really, work during even my internship. And I learned a lot, on site. We literally used to live in the office, the entire team. And I still remember those days. And, I've enjoyed that entire phase of, doing designing, working in the office, that collaborative process, going to site. Then while being on sites, I met many contractors, and then I started getting, kind of offers that, can you design for us? And out of nothing, I felt, okay, fine, why can't even I can start, designing. So I started taking up projects, and which was exciting. But at the same time, I had no prior experience. Neither had that kind of a network, neither had that kind of a background. So there were a lot of gaps, in my that entire process of, right from designing to execution. I did face challenges. Also, that time, particularly, I think as a woman, first time, because, when I grew up, my mother was a very good in academics, but, in those days, she had to stay at home and raise children. And we were four sisters. And that time, the time was hum do hamare do. And we were four sisters, and we used to ask why we are four. And then we realized, it was definitely because they wanted to have son. But
I can so much relate with it.
Yeah. But then it was a peer pressure. My parents actually never raised us like, that you are daughters or you have anything less, or, any restrictions, we grew with that entire freedom, that confidence, and that backing that, yes, we have to study and work. In fact, when my mother used to say that when you grow up, I would like you to get a 9 to 5 job, that was her thing, that, okay, you should work and balance your family. I used to feel very annoyed. She's restricting me, by saying 9 to 5. Why should I work 9 to 5? But later in my life, I realized, her advice, why she said it when I had
I
primary
know,
school.
but probably when you became mother, you may have realized it.
Yes, then I realized, yes, it is, even because I wanted that. So that is how. And then when I was quite doing well in my practice, in fact, I was earning more than my engineer friends, and I used to feel very happy. But post that, I felt that I needed to learn something more. So I decided to do my master's after 5 years, being in profession. Then I did my master's in September. If you remember, I was the, oldest in my class. So
class and junior to me.
yes, junior to you. So and then I after my masters, I got married, and I straight away went to Malaysia. So my life suddenly changed, I mean. And then I did work there. Right, first day I had a what do you say, appointment for my interview. I got into a British firm. I was working there for almost 5 years. Meanwhile, I got my elder daughter. So my life was kind of a balance, like 9 to 5, do a comfortable job, come home and take care of the family. And I enjoyed that phase a lot. But after that, I came back to India. I had my second daughter, and then that pressure started building. What next? How do I restart? So that is where I felt, yes, my urban studies were closer to me. I really liked that. So I felt maybe I'll do a government job that would be better. So I was looking around, and I realized that there is no post like urban designer anywhere. So, and I had to kind of either I have to work like a junior urban planner. By then I had done a lot of work, so I was not ready for that. So then I took up a job in a corporate where they were doing all builder oriented jobs, and it was a demanding job. And somehow the entire focus was very commercial, and it just didn't interest me. Neither I felt, so many hours I have to put in away from my family to, for the benefit of some builder, just wasn't feeling comfortable. So I left that. Then again, I didn't know as a urban, in urban, what do you say, in a space, what are the alternatives? So I got into a Rachana Sansad as a faculty, started teaching, some subjects which I had to literally learn before every lecture and go, because I really didn't know much, kind of disconnected with Indian context also. But that was a space which gave me I could grow there. I learned a lot of things, created a lot of network, and I really believe teaching is, you have to learn. So I learned a lot.
A good teacher is a good student.
Absolutely. So I learned a lot there, and also started a design cell, and that was something which gave me that, that entrepreneur in me. I started getting a lot of projects, study projects. In fact, I was given some kind of a budget, so which I had to repay. So, we made it of course, we didn't make a profit, but it was, we could manage ourselves, our team. So that was a very good experience, and I really enjoyed that phase of learning, exploring, creating networks. And during those projects, I met Mr. Datar, who had founded MESN, Mumbai Environmental Social Network, focused on mobility. And since then, we started working on various projects, and then I got into MESN as a CEO. And I felt, yes, at that point of time, I had compromised a fat salary, but I had opened up, fascinating opportunities for me, Post that, I became a core member of Guggenheim. They had started an urban lab in Mumbai that time, for public spaces, and I was a core team member from India. So that gave me a good exposure, good contacts all around the world. And understanding, I took up one project, public space project, which got funded by UN Habitat. So that again, we became local partners for UN Habitat. So that was a different kind of a trajectory and learning. So after one project, other few projects, UN Habitat, funded us, and we executed them. So all those learnings they wanted us to share. So most of their urban forums I attended all over the world, sharing, and then became part of that.
In Egypt. Coming now in Egypt,
yes. So it was like, even I became part of their public space policy making, So it was a very, I would say, very happy journey, knowing so many people. And also then I got Shivening scholarship, UK government scholarship, 3 months. So that was another learning thing for me. Then we also got national award for our project. We got international award for one of our public space project. So and then when we started presenting that to the commissioner here in a local context in Mumbai, then somewhere we could convince them that how mapping is important. So we started GIS mapping of slums. And then we developed a real-time, application and started mapping slums. And that is how then it went ahead. We started, consulting corporation on feasibility projects, feasibility of laying sweeper lines, water lines in slum area, and, improving, upgrading. Then I learned, in fact, I had no background of mobility, but with Mr. Datar, I learned a lot about mobility. Then we did a bus lane project. Actually implemented those projects into places, Haji Ali and BKC. Then we did a lot of technical studies that, traffic simulations, feasibility studies, parking policy. I wrote a parking policy for Aurangabad city. So, these kind of projects kept on happening till COVID. Yes, a lot of work, but post-COVID, things changed, slowed down. I couldn't really maintain my team, because we were not working on very big margins. So that was a setback. And also somewhere I started thinking that somewhere, yes, you get projects to deliver output, but I never was output oriented. I was outcome oriented. And somewhere I was feeling that gap that, yes, I give a report and then what? Is it really getting executed on site? So that kind of introspection was making me feel a little uncomfortable of what, what I had started with and what it was ending with. So I felt I need to take a break. Maybe also financially, it was really becoming tougher post-COVID, maintaining the team, because the projects also had frozen, government change, a lot of things had happened. So then I said, let me just take a break, kind of a sabbatical, you can say. And then I got into completely different farming. I bought a farm, and since last year,
I think that's why I'm not able to catch you in last few months.
Yes, I have all that. Now rains are coming, so I've become a farmer. So I'm completely into farming. I don't know what kind of a detox you say, but yes, I'm feeling so much myself again, which I had kind of felt I had lost. That momentum which I had somewhere. So I just needed that kind of a break, and I now really feel, yes, I want to go back and at least start with study projects now, not get that burden of not being able to execute, because I am not urban projects. You cannot say that you can, do anything alone. There's a huge team, there's a political will, there is administrative will. I don't want to take the burden of that. I will do what I'm good at as a professional, and I'll just remain, I'll feel happy to give that output, at least
output. Remain my first.
Huh?
Farming will be first.
I can't hear you.
From
your voice is broken.
I'm saying farming will be now your first baby.
I can't hear you.
Am I audible?
No, your voice is breaking.
Wait. Just wait.
Yeah.
So now actually farming has become your first priority, and that's why I think you will make a lot of these decisions much easier than before.
Yes. And you see the fruits, I mean, you plant a tree, you see it growing, and you learn so much. I mean, I really feel living in urban areas, you're so disconnected with actual what life is all about, I mean, so now actually living with animals, a cow, the kittens, I mean, I've been talking like, I don't know, farmer.
But you are living like but you are living a dream life, which I have been dreaming for quite some time. Trupti.
I know, everybody tells me that.
I'm coming with a baggage. Do you need a worker, farm worker? So you have...
labor is a problem. I have been facing that for a long time.
You see, and you will get woman labor who can cook for you also.
Yeah. You come there just as a friend, it will be great.
You come there to the farm, and there will be food ready for you, ekdam fresh bana hua and all. Yeah. But I have been dreaming this life for a long time. So anyway, thank you so much for opening your heart in the beginning, but I'm going to take you back to my questions because it's part of research also. So when you took the decision to join architecture, I am assuming it was, interestingly, it was not probably because you are girl child, and I can relate that with you. Let me ask you a very funny question, because we are also 4 sisters. So where do you stand in the 4? I'm second.
I stand in the 4, yes. I mean, in terms of income generation, not really highest. The one who is a doctor.
By number.
So number, okay. I mean, I thought in terms
second of... Daughter.
No. Okay, third.
Third, okay, wonderful. So that was a little bit off. So I'm assuming that, like my situation, I'm also assuming in your case, it was not that because you are a girl, you have to do this and that. Our parents probably in the desire for having boy, and that also is a classic case for us to discuss in this platform when we talk about women in architecture. We are 4 sisters because they had a wish to have boy.
Yes, of course.
So, but when we were already there in front of them, they never put us any pressure of being girl or anything. They just raised us wonderfully, and I can see with you as well. And when I look at myself, because all these conversations I am having with all the architects is also a reflection for me, how my life journey has been. And by the way, I have been also interviewed on this platform. Let me tell you that. But we were not given an ounce of that feeling that we are lesser by our parents. And I'm sure you will agree on that.
Yes.
No matter whatever they did. And I would like to understand from you when you were in college days, because in my college days, again, I had the similar kind of experience. I actually did not ever realize during college days that being a girl in the profession is going to matter, because being among the toppers, so it never occurred in my mind. So I wish to understand from you when you were in your graduation and coming towards the closure, and you had to start a new career, which you have already mentioned where you joined. But did you really face anything like in your mind, or were you made to realize that being a girl in the profession, you have to make decisions differently? Or it was just that Trupti has to decide something? So how was it with Trupti?
See, I mean, somehow the way these days kids have awareness, we had very less awareness.
Yes.
Neither we used to not talk so much about future. We lived in the present. So
Yes,
there was,
that's
not
true.
knowing the future was we were in the bliss. So yes,
Yes.
yes.
That ignorance was very good,
Yes,
actually.
it was really, really I mean, when I really see now, they are so stressed about things which, I have not even happened.
Including climate change responsibilities on them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yes, my life went the way, the challenges came. I was open. I never had any pressure, at least till, I got married from my parents that you have to come and at a particular time or you cannot, go all out. I was all out to make my practice,
Yes, you mentioned.
So all at the same time, they had no clue what I was doing,
And
whom I
I
was
can so much
meeting,
relate with
what
it.
kind of problems I am facing. They were so like, okay, fine, my daughter is going, she's working
Naive,
hard and
kind
she
of
has to be
naive.
fed some garam, food.
Now,
That's it. They never asked me what happened today. Seriously, I'm telling you.
I recall my father brought me to my first year college, and since then they didn't even know what's going on, कितना pass हो गई, कितना
Yeah.
fail हो गई, college change कर लिया, graduation हो गया, and they were like, what is she doing? ठीक है, महीने का खर्चा भेजना है, और एक दिन मैंने बोल दिया, अब महीने का खर्चा भेजने की जरूरत नहीं
Zarurat
है.
nahi. Exactly. Exactly. So till architecture, they paid my fees, but since never I
Same
took
here.
money for my post graduation, never. So it was even
Mhm.
marriage.
Same here.
Me and my husband, we shared 50-50 and
Same
we did
here. We
our
have a lot
marriage.
of similarities then,
Yes,
huh?
yes. So yes, it was like that.
So, so coming to your post your graduation, when you entered the field, how was it working on the ground, in the office? See, the study is on being woman, so it's my duty to ask you these questions, because many a times our respondents have actually said that they have never looked at life from that angle, and that's fine, But when I'm looking at a pattern, when I'm looking at a lot of, studies which are done, we see a pattern that there are more male architects, there are more known male architects, women are lesser known, lesser appreciated. So I just wish to understand from you now, when you started your career as an early career professional, how was it with you in the
See,
office, with the
early
peer
in the
group,
sense,
with
my
the
first
on the
5 years
bench?
of working, I felt when I was doing till I was working under an architect, I never had a problem because I was always with a group. But when I went alone as a professional, taking up
Uh,
projects, then
mm,
somewhere the contractors, the engineers looked at me a little differently. I knew
mm,
that a woman alone, young, not married, going on the
mm,
field, so somewhere available. You know,
mm.
of course you have to put the kind of guard, and kind of show them that yes, I'm here to work and nothing else. So those kind of
No, no.
challenges I faced, but even then I felt okay, fine, so what, I can handle. Never went and told anybody about it. In fact, only when this discussion on women, I started thinking, what as a woman I have problems. Then I started, then first time while coming back here driving, I told my daughter, I said, I've never shared this with anybody. I'm telling you this is what happened, this is what happened, So somehow we felt, okay, we'll manage, So these were few things. And then when I was in Malaysia, I remember the Malay community particularly, not there are Chinese community, Malay and Indian. If you see the structure of, if you in Malaysia. And I was working with a British firm. So whenever I used to go to the meeting, particularly with a Malay client, they used to look differently at a woman that I never used to put any nail paint or no makeup. And there it is expected that a woman who is coming for a meeting should be, dressed well. And when I understood, and then they gifted me, a body shop that, products, which I never used. But this was, you imagine, you're going there as a professional. Yes, you are explaining a residential project and what, I could never, even then I laughed off, what rubbish. But that is how every society is very different,
Yes.
So those kind of things, but I couldn't call it a challenge because it never came in my way. I could articulate my work well, and I was, okay, this is my job and I've done my job. More than that, I'm not responsible, to entertain anybody. So, so that was it. And then when I came back and I got into this space of NGO and, I felt it's my space because I saw so many women only around. So it was accepting me was no problem, that was our space, in fact, I saw very few men doing this. And then I started actually questioning that why more women are in this space and why no men. And then you understand, yes, they have those pressures of running maybe family, money becomes a priority. Yes, I did take, because yes, when I was working in a corporate, the kind of salary I was getting, I was not earning, later. Though after when I started getting the projects, I was doing quite well. But yes, I think women do compromise on the salary for the kind of flexibility and autonomy it gives you working in the NGO sectors and other sectors. Yes.
The cost we have to pay.
Yes. So another thing I can say, when I used to go initially to present commissioners, when I was in Rachna Sansad Design Cell, they never took me seriously because I used to wear Western clothes. So, and literally used to say, what, you're a college student and all that. So the immediately next meeting I went in a sari and everything changed, And since then, sari has become my dress code for meetings. And it has worked,
But this is apathy, of the way we look at people by outfits and not by what they are going to say and think.
But these are the kind of, I think, experiences I can. Yeah. So other than that, I don't think so. Maybe, but I never took it. Maybe they behave, but it is the way you look at it. We never, we don't want to look at those things that way. So, chalta hai, we will manage,
But in my research and my understanding, I'm also realizing because we overlook these things, we are unable to overcome these things in the society. And probably that is why people like us are really making an issue out of it, that we need to change the way we look at things,
I also feel one thing, the kind of visibility women's work get is far lesser than what men. The same work if the man does, the kind of visibility he would get, a woman will not get. People will not, acknowledge that work. I think that is what is making women not really. I think women have all the skills, the talent, the knowledge, but it is basically to putting yourself forward confidently that yes, I deserve this respect, I deserve this acknowledgement. Somewhere we tend to say, it's okay, it doesn't matter. But that is what matters, in the market. Ultimately, what the face they say, that comes first, and that is where the women are also kind of in a background. I think maybe that could be the thing,
Yeah, I mean, from my study of nearly now 4 years, I have also realized that women have been a little bit of laid back in documenting and disseminating their work, disseminating their thoughts, even writing for that matter. And that has also impacted not only them, and women have not realized that it has impacted the generation as well. I mean, and I think initially when I was talking to people about doing this research, and I used to talk to some women to get appointments and all, कोई मतलब नहीं है ये सब काम करके, अपने अपने बारे में तारीफ करने की क्या जरूरत है. So not realizing that unless and until you talk about your work, how will people know that you have worked, and also how will people realize that you can work.
Yes, yes,
But
absolutely.
anyway, I mean, I don't want to push our discussion on my way of doing the research, because we are discussing about your life. So you, with this roller coaster rides and going here and then getting married, having first child, then second, how did you think that time balancing the life? And today you are very chilled out, and I'm sure your girls are grown up. But how it is for a woman to really balance profession and family, especially when people like you and others who have come on this platform, most of them, when we have this itch of becoming perfectionist in everything, we want to do everything perfect. How were you doing it?
See, for me, I knew very early that it's a teamwork, and it's my husband, my in-laws, my mother. If we all come together, we can make it. It is that pride of, me wanting to do everything. I said, I don't want to be a superwoman.
Very
So
good.
I had a help, So always, and on that, I always had kept a maid, so that there is somebody who is, supporting. At the same time, there are grandparents at home. And so then and I had a second child also with that thought that I don't want my daughters to feel that I have left them alone, because I was traveling a lot. I was quite out. My husband also he has his own business. He's traveling. So when you have this kind of a busy schedule, it's very important to have a very safe environment for
Yes,
children and
children.
grandparents at home. So, in spite of, as usual, conflicts and, gaps in communication, we ensured that we all live together. So, and that is how it worked out very well for us. I mean, in fact, during that Shivaning 3 months, I was out. And even for the conferences, I used to go almost 15 days, 20 days out. So, I mean, it happened. And of course, with the support of I think you need a good husband to understand it. She has her own life, and yes, and not to expect and demand. So, so
That's
I
very
think
well
it's,
put.
uh,
Understanding all collective effort. Very well put
collective.
that.
It is
Very
collective
well
effort.
put.
It is not one. I don't want to take a credit for anything. I think it was a teamwork, and it that is why it worked out well without any stress and anxiety and guilt also, for that
Definitely.
matter.
Let me ask you a detour question in this. I'm sure you can make a sense out of it when you look at your friends with a similar profession spouse, or friends with different profession spouse, like in your case. What do you think really can make a difference in our profession? Does it really matter to have a same profession spouse, or based on your understanding, maybe
No,
your acquaintances?
I think
Does it
when
matter for the woman's
whenever
profession?
whatever I have my experience, I have seen when
Yes,
the
of course.
spouses from the same profession, women somehow became they don't have any visibility. They are there doing everything, but the name is generally of a man, and runs on his name. In spite, she does all the work. In fact, my husband is from a different profession. I am from a different profession, so I get credit for whatever work I do. I get that credit and I have that satisfaction. But I've seen many of my friends working with their husband, where I used to feel so good. You have a partner, you don't have to work, you don't have to take care of the accounts and all those things which we don't like to do. But I feel somehow that recognition for their work they don't get. This is what my
Very well
observation.
put.
And also, I've seen some of my friends whose husbands have not taken responsibility of the running of the family. They had to work. I mean, the kind of freedom I had to choose projects, I never compromised on that. Somewhere, then like the men, they also had to kind of compromise, take the project so that they to ensure the family is running. So though that is that is that is a thing which I see. So I mean, to really work comfortably, it is a very important thing to kind of have a good right balance in a family.
Yeah, absolutely. So that brings me to a little bit different question than what we were talking about as family. But we all have had situations and where we had to take tough decisions in life, right? And that shapes us what we are today.
Mm.
So would you like to share some of the major decisions that have changed the way you look at life? I know now you are farming, so that's an interesting decision you made, but otherwise, profession wise, some life-changing moments that shapes what Trupti is today.
Yes, in fact, I would say when I was in that corporate sector, I in fact lost a lot of confidence because I was always good. I was appreciated for my work. And there I was in the race, where men were there working so hard, staying up late. And I was constantly, I have to go back, but no, I have to do well. And somehow I felt the clients also took there, I felt men little more seriously than my proposals over their proposals. So I always felt uncomfortable in competition for what? I mean, I didn't know. I was not settled there. So that was a space which I remember it was the most difficult 6 months working in my entire career, I would say. Uh, uh, where I honestly I would say I was asked to leave, and that was the lowest point in my life. Where I felt I was incapable of delivering, and the next I don't know the next day I got a call from I don't know I met Rachna Sansal's principal that time, and he said you come over. I went there, and that was a life-changing decision of my life. I mean, maybe this happened so that I knew what is it that I wanted to do. That till then I didn't know what I wanted to do in urban space. I mean, I somewhere my even that little understanding was okay, large scale projects I'm working in Malaysia also I was working on large township projects. I was happy, okay. And here also, okay, large commercial projects.
Urban design.
Yes, exactly. But then when I joined college, got into those things and then understood what we're talking about, got with UN Habitat and then really got it started. Then see, this opened up my entire, understanding, knowledge, and I mean, I grew, really. So I think that was so you always when it's the lowest point, I think you should not worry. That is there for you to kind of, fly. So
yeah, wonderful. Very well put. When you are at the lowest, you have to really have that confidence also in yourself, and you have to just wait for the right moment. And I think people like you also, because you have so much of energy, so much an urge to learn and share, educational platforms, research platforms becomes very liberating. I have also felt it. I mean, leaving consultancy and getting more into shifting myself more into research and education is very liberating because we are very open thinking people. We want to think. We don't want to be slaved.
Yes.
That's that's a big understanding one has to have of oneself. So coming to the next question, if you look up to some people who you think really inspired you or who moved you, who helped you to make certain decisions in life, would you like to acknowledge them?
Yes, of course. I mean, my mentor,
I
Mr.
know there will
Ashok
be
Mehta.
many.
Yes,
Will be
there are many,
but
many.
still,
In fact, Shirish Patel is one of them. The biggest name I told you, Mr. Ashok Datar, with whom I've worked so many years. And I think whatever I am today is because of him. My knowledge of economics, he is an economist. Economy and mobility was zero. And today I could do so much work with so much confidence is because of him. I mean, I don't have any words to express. there are so many people. I mean, in fact, in this field, I have come across every person. In fact, was so I felt that was doing everything with so much of passion, interest. Shreya Gadepalli is one other person I used to feel. Neera Adarkar. I can just name so many. So I mean, yes, I mean, I've enjoyed working with so many people and learned so much from them.
Wonderful, wonderfully put. And I think whatever we have shaped ourselves with, there are many people who have been part of our lives. So it's
Yes.
difficult to name everybody, but there are
Yes.
some people it's worth to really acknowledge them and put it on record. So
Yes, I
my
should then
next
add my
question,
husband's name also. He'll feel bad.
of course. So yeah, of course, husband, parents. I'm not. I actually, in some cases, I have already said that we consider that they have inspired you and they are role models. Let us keep them aside and give some professional examples, which you already did by yourself. So, you have worked with all kinds of people,
Yeah.
whether it is corporate, whether it is educational, and then you have multinational also worked with them. What do you think, with your experience, the difference between a woman approaching a project or a man approaching a project, both in terms of design as well as in terms of business of doing it?
Uh, in terms
From
of
your experience.
yeah, from
From your
my yes,
experience.
I think a man definitely has a little. I think so. I mean, definitely a business perspective more. Few a client, they approach client with business in mind. Because that is their prime motive. How to kind of get the bigger pie out of the whole thing. But as a women, I think we also look at. We want we are looking at project where we can give our whatever we have learned, whatever we have trained. We want to give our best to make the best out of that. I think that is all. That is what I think is a difference, but not much difference. Every person is different, and
Yes,
I
of
always
course.
believe that men and women there is not much difference. It only the circumstances from which you come, you approach it differently. Uh, I yes, I think that is what it is. I only feel women work don't get visibility. Somewhere
Yes.
men tend to kind of keep it for themselves, and also society. I think
Also
society.
in number, actually, Trupti, we have to understand that, of course, there are more male members practicing out there. So, of course, they have a quantum, so
Yeah.
then they are more visible. So, and also when we look at contractors, architects, in college, peons, most of them are men,
Yes, and
you
also
know.
because women hold little less power influence in the society,
Yes.
and we work
And
in
the
a team.
success ladder is longer. For
Yes,
women to prove her
yes,
success is a longer ladder
yes, yes, yes.
than a male. So all these things are already proven theoretically also. So I
Yeah.
am keeping them at rest in my work.
Hmm.
And actually, I also realized, I've been in during writing my research concept, as this one of the major reasons why women have not been acknowledged and appreciated for their tremendous contribution they have made is that they have not made that extra effort to document and disseminate their work. That's one of my major findings. I mean, how many women have really gone so far to really put up their website and going to different platforms, going to different
Yes,
conference
I know.
and
See,
not
I'll tell you
made it?
the way LinkedIn, the men are so much on that. I don't think so. Even my husband keeps telling me, but somehow there is a resistance, of updating
And
your
time,
profile,
where is the
updating.
time?
Uh,
Where is the
yes,
time?
exactly. You're multitasking, so that is also there. Absolutely, yes,
Where is the time to do all these things? For
yes, yes.
that you need the time, and that women often are left with not much time. So that is also the opportunity that, which we have to identify if it is there. But understanding being a woman, I'm sure in some of your meetings and situations where you may have realized, and I would like to understand some of those incidences from you where you felt that, oh, it is an opportunity to be a woman in this kind of projects or initiatives, And there must be some projects and initiatives here where you felt that it is a challenge to be woman in this. Would you like to share something like this, or you have not encountered those
I mean,
situations?
not consciously as a woman, but yes, I mean, when I was working with UN Habitat, I think it was wonderful experience. They're very, the kind of the team they have, the kind of communication skills they have, knowledge they have. It was wonderful communicating. Even when I'm sitting here in Mumbai and they are sitting somewhere around the world, it was effortless in terms of in terms of working out on the project. So I felt, but I don't know whether I was being a woman or, but yes, I think it was a very pleasant experience working with that organization. So that is one I can say. Yes, challenging was, I can say, working with government officials. It is challenging. I don't know whether they give more importance to men or women, but they don't give importance otherwise to urban professionals. So you have to wait.
So that's another discussion altogether.
Altogether.
Get into
So
where women in urban design needs discussion, but
yes.
actually not women. Urban design itself needs
Urban design.
discussion.
I said no, there is no post. There is no post for urban designers. So
I used to fight with Rameshwar sir in my early career. Sir, what is this? There is no job opportunities for urban
absolutely,
designers.
absolutely.
So that's a different discussion.
Different discussion.
It's
That's
not
a
about
different
women and men.
yes, yes, yes.
And we still do
Yeah,
not have,
this
by
is
the
what
way.
it
We
is, I guess.
still do not have. That is the irony, that we still do not have so much recognition as an urban designer as they deserve. There is an
You are
improvement,
again
but
breaking.
not
Your
that
voice
much.
is breaking.
No, I'm saying that itself still remains a challenge.
Yeah.
It has improved from 20 years ago, but we are still far to be
Yes.
acknowledged. As an urban designer, male, female, to baad mein aayega.
Yes. अरे अभी भी
Anyway.
लोग, I mean, they'll call you, are you interior or architecture? Forget about it.
and interestingly, many people can't even pronounce architecture. I always question,
Yes.
why did we require such difficult word to have in first place? है ना? And many a times people will say, are you architecture?
That is
Because
what,
they
are you
don't know.
architecture or interior? I mean, that one. So
Not
urban is
architect.
like, you cannot expect them to understand what is urban. So
Urban
I
में
always say
कहते
I'm
क्या
a
हैं?
town planner, they understand. When you say a town
That they
planner,
understand.
they understand. Yeah.
Very good. So I'm going to skip one question because you have brought it quite well. When the question is about responses of people around, from your colleagues, from your other staff, from your clients, contractors, laborers, and other material suppliers, what kind of responses they give. But you have beautifully carved it out through the conversation. But if you would like to add anything very briefly, you
I
may.
mean, the frustrating experience, I would say, I mean, on the projects which I have been working, say, example of slums, and they are a very tight knit, fabric, where, laying a sewer line, yes, which is essential. But then the junior engineers, for them, it is a nightmare, who's going to lay that sewer line? So, though it is feasible, they will say they don't want to do it. So see, you do see a larger, impact, but then at ground to take that responsibility, because for them it is very easy to build community toilets in one place, then go dig a sewer line and give everybody connection, So those kind of projects, which you say minor surgery, not really major redevelopment, somehow it doesn't work because people don't want to kind of, because it also involves a lot of engagement with the community, various stakeholders, and nobody has time, patience for such projects. So though I have spent a lot of time in community engagement and these kind of minor, I mean, you say ki incremental upgrading, but somehow in a city like Mumbai, where urban pressures are so much, the land value is so much, it just doesn't work. So it was a bit
Again, it
frustrating.
has nothing to do with being woman. It's just the work.
It is just the work. Yeah, it's just the work.
Interestingly, that brings me to the penultimate question, and it's a hypothetical question, and based on the statistics which we have. So for long time, our profession has been male dominated. Whether we accept it, like it, that's the fact.
But strangely, if you see in any class, there are more girls. Even our time, there were more girls in the class. I don't know where they disappeared. So
that was the starting point of my own research. Where do the girls go? You know. So anyway, so that is also another discussion. But I would like to bring your imagination to a very strange situation. Not that I would like that situation to arrive in the society, never in my dreams. But imagine if we want to achieve this equality in the profession or equity in the profession, imagine a situation where all the famous architects or the major profession of architecture is dominated by women. So I'm saying reversing the situation. There are more women architects in the country than men architects. This is a hypothetical situation. I don't wish to. I wish to live a day when, with my little effort, maybe I don't change anything in the profession, but I wish to live a day in my own life when we don't have to discuss men and women. Here is a society, here is a city, here is a problem. Let's solve it. But for the sake of understanding, what do you think if the profession was predominantly donned by women, how would cities, neighborhoods, all kinds of public facilities would have been different? That's the only professional question I have.
Yes, I mean, just I'll give you one example. I mean, when we were doing our public spaces, that public spaces becomes safer when you see women using it. You know, that is an indicator. One of the indicator is that. And I've been doing a lot of projects with community engagement, particularly with women. And I think their focus is their family. They'll go to any extent to ensure they'll make changes in their public spaces, is to ensure have a better life, you know, for their children. So I think if women are there, you know, if I have to imagine, their focus will be improving livability. Today, the focus is development. I don't know what that connotation of development is, big roads, car, because, you know, that is what very masculine, you know, thing of towers, you know, glass facades. That is some kind of a development picture which is getting projected.
Smart city.
Yeah.
Smart city.
Smart city. So I think women will put people first, you know, because they, what would people like? So I think the starting point will be from human centric. So I think that is what will be the difference, and it will reflect. Then there will be a balance, because it is human centric. Human need to coexist with nature. So it will be a better balance between, you know, not just have roads without any trees, at least roads with tree lines, something like that, you know, whether people, old people, young children can walk on the street properly, because again, you are, you know, connected, you want their safety, you want them to kind of, so I think that is what definitely I see, you know, I mean, if that would be there, it will be more inclusive, more responsive, more equal kind of a, you know, picture you will get to see, and more coexisting with nature, I would say.
Very, very good words you put in, and those are all also we learned in urban design, where gender was not discussed. You know, livability, inclusiveness, safety, safer, greener, cleaner cities. UN itself has, UN Habitat has run it for quite some time. I remember from its previous UN Habitat forums as well. Okay, that brings me to the last question, and it is not a difficult question at all, but it has two parts. And because our profession itself, as we were discussing, people call us, are you architecture or interior? So our profession is not known. So I would like to get your message to the younger generation, what it is to be an architect. What do you think about it, so that they understand it? That's first part of the last question, and it is not addressing to any gender, it is to the younger generation. So what it is to be in the profession, and the second part is maybe you would like to club the answers together, and that's why I'm putting both the questions together. What the younger generation should do to really engender the profession, means to really reduce this gap of men, women in the profession, and move towards equitable profession. So over to you.
So no, I mean, ultimately what we are talking about, roti kapda makan, that is a basic necessity for a human being. So makan is what is that you need
Avoid.
for protecting yourself. So keep it to that, I mean, instead of just having those indicators of livability that 20 square feet per person or 60 square feet per person, that is the notion of development in New York and in Mumbai. Suppose it is just 4 square feet per, that means you are increasing the built up area. That means increasing the FSR. That means increasing the built mass on the land and compromising the softscape. So, so I think ultimately, if you your needs, I think that it comes to, what is it that is needed? Your brief has to be right. And I don't know whether architects can determine that brief, because it gets controlled by the developer. So that is where our architects, we are not gods. We work in a team. But yes, if I have given that kind of an opportunity, I would say yes, you have to limit your needs, because the planet is limited and resources are limited. You need to use it carefully, and these wrong notions of prosperity, development, we really cannot afford it anymore. So need to have some kind of a balance, and let's not take pride in this, these kind of so-called architecture. So
masculine already.
Yes, very, very masculine. Yeah.
Wonderful. You speak my heart on this, by the way. And I think that's also ecofeminism. And I'm hearing more and more women, and this is coming out so loud and clear, talking about, essentialism and doing small is beautiful. We have read it.
I'll tell you, today I live in a big house, and I know I want to live in a small one-room apartment, because who wants to clean that? I don't want to do it, I rather spend my time out. When I come home, I just need a bed and a small little kitchen where I can cook. I mean, exactly. I mean, small is beautiful. Is this really? Women are unnecessarily increasing their effort to ensure they maintain that house. For what status, God knows, So I think we really need to start now. This aspiration everybody has, I want to have a big car, big house. But in that process, we are giving up our freedom to do what we want, and we are getting trapped into just maintaining this so-called, I don't know, accessories, So yeah.
So go back to basics. So probably that's a big job. So maybe that's also something which I will put it in a more research form, is redefining architecture.
Yeah.
The way we were taught. I think now the new generation has to relook at architecture from more environment perspective, climate change perspective.
But they are also doing these days. Kids don't want to own car. They are better with Ola, Uber. Who wants that white elephant? So I think they want rental apartments. I think there is some change, because they don't want kids. That is too much. But so they just don't want any responsibility.
But in my age itself, I didn't want kids.
What? I know.
Was thinking ahead of time.
I know. So that is how it is. So
yeah.
So already things are moving.
Things are moving. But still, as seniors, we have some things which we have learned in life, which we should tell them, so that they can leapfrog certain things in life. They don't have to go through the same mistake and grilling, and and they can understand things better. So the last question is left from you to respond, which is how should they work towards engendering the profession? How can we reduce the gender gap? What is your message to the younger generation?
I think I don't know, because these days, if I talk to my daughters, what men and women gender, there is a third gender also. They don't want to nothing. They are kind of free. So I think human beings, they are a little more of. I mean, so I think
professionally, you don't
professionally
think
again. See, I'll tell you, there is no one world. In the same world, there are different multiple worlds exist. So there is always going to be somewhere in some Puran Kal or somebody in a very modern, it's always going to be there. And that is a maybe beauty also, that you don't have very monolithic world, and, everything is happening at the same time. So this gap may remain or may not remain. I don't know, but yes.
Importantly, we have to remove that gap or reduce the gap.
Yeah, we have to. Absolutely. We have to grow individually as a person and look beyond body, I mean,
Yeah.
what is there, man and woman? I think, you know, I mean, you just look at the other person as a human being. I think that is the best thing. Yeah.
And that's the best thing. Okay, wonderful. So this is a time when I may invite you. If you have any questions for me, you may ask. I'm done with my questions.
Yeah, I mean, so far, how has been your experience and you know, as a woman professional? I would like to know.
Oh, that's another interview, Trupti. You are asking me that question. But I was also interviewed by Kiran Kesarwani, so that is also available. And I have my own way of looking at life and profession and all. Very bumpy ride, I must say. But I think for me, holding on to the integrity was the most important thing. No wonder how my profession goes, where my name goes, where anything goes, but importantly, holding on to the integrity. Nobody should be able to say that I did this wrong. So I have tried my best in my life to keep a conduct in such a way that I can sleep peacefully. For me, a successful person is one who sleeps like a child.
Yeah.
And I sleep every night like a child. And for me, that's the biggest measurement. I will put it in a very simple way. But starting with architecture, and then many of my friends don't even know that I have architecture field and as a background, that they think that I'm a water person, and I'm not a water specialist. And I'm not a woman specialist, but people think that I am gender specialist, and I'm no specialist, to be honest. I think over last 30 years, I have developed good ears. I love to listen to people. And I think that's why I'm conducting these kind of studies. And I am learning to write. So this is my exercise to learn to write, because in architecture, we were never taught to write.
Yes, yes.
So I'm learning. So I'm a good listener and a good learner after 30 years, to put it in a very simple way. And rest तो गूगल है और लिंक्डइन भी है और बाकी चीजें बता देता है. But a very bumpy ride. But I think lot of learning. You don't learn if you are constantly in a good situation. You learn when you have a bumpy life.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
So put it in a very simple way. So thank you so much, Trupti, for the enlightening interaction. I mean, honestly speaking, it was just flowing like water, and I thoroughly enjoyed. There were so many things I could relate with you, and also I was so proud to have you here, knowing that I have seen you as a junior in the college, and having this interaction. You opened your heart, and may you remain an inspiration to others as you have been now. I'm deeply grateful to you to have learned about your endeavors. Otherwise, I would never have come to know that Trupti has a farm where I can go and sleep under the tree.
Yes,
or the
please
khatia.
do come. Definitely. It
Yeah.
would be wonderful
So
to have you.
I wish you best to continue in whatever endeavors you think makes you happier. And I hope you will keep us posted. We shall, my team, I mean, shall continue with our conversation on women in architecture and get more and more interesting, I should not say life stories, but more and more experiences in front of all our younger generation. That's for them. So thank you so much, Tripti. Please take care, and we connect outside this system. Okay.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Yes.
Thanks for